welcome back to the CSS podcast. This is episode number 59, titled The Season or Seasons Are Over. We'll get into that in a little bit here, but with me tonight is Charlie Crawley. Sam sends his regrets. He cannot make it tonight. They are packing up, getting ready for the move back to the area. And, we're just thankful that they can come back and be closer to home. And, so we'll see them hopefully, next week, or he might be calling in as they're coming back. But, he'll be back in the Natty area, Northern Kentucky area, rooting for our favorite teams here. So Crowley, how was your weekend?
It was busy. You count Friday as part of the weekend. It was really busy, but Saturday was a little calmer. Been a little sick this weekend, so I probably still have that congestion crap. So just kind of dealing with that. But yeah, not a great sports weekend again. A lot of other than this right here. Other than that, it was pretty bad all the way around. But the weekend itself was fine.
Yeah, 1 for 4 over the weekend. Can make a decent major league career out of that. But going 1 for 4 every game. But for our fans here in Cincinnati, one team winning versus 4, not real good for us. But with that, let's go ahead and get into the one lone bright spot this weekend. FC Cincinnati, they defeated Toronto by the score of 3-2, and with that, they are the Supporter Shields champions. So congratulations to those guys there, and bringing up
with 3 games to go still.
Yes, exactly. So that is impressive, and let's. We could talk more about this, but FC Cincinnati went out and got somebody, in the international pool there, and he came and he scored a goal for him, and we could talk about front office's moves, which I think we will here in a little bit later in the podcast, with not just the Reds, but also the Bengals, and what's your take on FC Cincy and their turnaround from last year? And
2 years ago, they were the worst team in the league by every measurement. Goals scored, goals against, record, number of points. That was several years in a row. Being that low ever since they came to MLS. So, it'd be like, in reality, it'd be like the Oakland A's in 2 years from now having the best record in the majors, or I guess a little bit like the Bengals, somewhat. The Bengals did that somewhat, like, went from 2-14, aren't they? Wasn't that Zach Taylor's first year? Burrow's rookie year was 2-14.
Was it 2-14 that year? I know they were 2-14 when they got Burrow. I
think
the
year before Burrow.
Yeah, that was Zach's.
Maybe Burrow was like 4-12 or something.
Yeah, well, yeah, because he was injured. So
right.
I think
that's true. The year before Burrow, I think they were 2-14.
Yeah.
So he went from 2-14 to 2 years later, right?
Yeah.
Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So that's pretty
good.
That's pretty similar. So it's they went out and got a lot of players over these last few since the new regime has taken hold. I haven't not done it, but it'd be interesting if you looked at the team, the starting lineup, even the bench 2 years ago versus today, how few players there were, the changes that they made. They have obviously having the MVP, Luciano Acosta he's probably going to be the MVP this year. Just having that talent and being kind of the stable one running the team. And he just signed an extension a week ago, or maybe 7-10 days ago. Signed an extension to stay here till through 2026, maybe. So that's good news. It shows that he likes being here, and because he had moved around a little bit prior to that. They 3 games. They if they went full go, which I don't think they will, and I wouldn't either, but if they went full go and were able to win these last 3 regular season games, they would have the most points in MLS history. It's pretty amazing too. So, outside,
Oh, okay.
start cutting grass.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't.
I was like,
Yeah,
wait a minute.
that must be what you're hearing. Yeah, I
Yeah.
can go. I can pull the
That's all
windows
right.
down.
That's all right.
No, it's fine because I was wondering if you were going to hear
that. We'll be right back. It's a little technical difficulty here, so. But as Carl is shutting his window here, so that we don't hear people moaning. Oh, there it is. Some other stuff like that. We do want to give a shout out. Shout out to the producer tonight. It's his birthday, so happy birthday, producer. The youngest of the Wolfers clan is celebrating a birthday today, so shout out to him. And
Okay.
he's working tonight, but when he gets home, we'll have the cake and ice cream for his birthday celebration. So I was just telling folks, giving a shout out to Benj for the producer for
Today's his birthday.
Yep, today's his birthday.
Okay. Happy birthday, Ben.
So, all right, keep going. Sorry.
So yeah, so it was so they like you mentioned, they brought in they had somebody come in, they picked up a transfer in the soccer world transfer portal back in was that in the summer. They got him. I think he started playing in early July, maybe. Yeah. They picked him up in June or whatever. Forward, which is what they need. They need another goal scorer because they lost Brenner to a team in Italy. So they went out and said, "Hey, we need to find a goal scorer," and they found a guy who plays for the international team for his country and is known as a goal scorer, and that's what they needed. And in 8 games, he scored 5 goals, which in soccer world is pretty decent. So, and he's just and he's working his way into the team too. It's not like he's hitting on all cylinders either. So he's going to keep getting better and better the more he plays and the more integrated. So I could see him still playing quite a bit over the next 3 games, but I'm going to guess they're going to rest some. They can't rest them all 3 games because won't be sharp at all for the playoffs. But definitely be able to use more of your bench over the next 3 games, and anybody that's got the ticky tack kind of injury stuff, they can hopefully get that out of them before the playoffs begin. We had first playoff win ever last year in the MLS, so this year obviously they you're hoping that they can win the whole thing from the playoff standpoint. I don't think I'll be disappointed if they don't do that, but they got the Supporters Shield. It'd be nice for them to at least make the finals.
Yeah.
But
so it's not like win or bust, right?
Nah, I don't think so. Because I think this is a little that wasn't unexpected. They were really good. I mean, they did what a team's supposed to do. They built on the previous year. And last year they made the playoffs as like whatever it was, a 6 seed or 5 seed, and then they won their first round game, and then they lost to Philadelphia, who I can't remember if they made the final. They didn't win the whole thing, but they might have made the finals. And they played them to, it was a close game all the way through. So you're hoping, that I always feel like that's what you're hoping a team does, right? They show some success, and then the following year they build on it, and the following year they build on it. So, I mean, the Bengals, this is year 3 for the Bengals. So, this is, to me, when you're in year 3 of that upward trajectory, then that's championship or bust. So, I think it's still unexpected they were this good, did this much. So, but yeah, I mean, they got 3 more regular season games, and it'll be interesting to see what Noonan does, the coach does, in terms of who he plays and how much and all that kind of stuff. And I mean, that's his big decision to make now for these next 3 games, setting them up for the playoffs, because you don't want to. It would definitely be disappointing if they do this and then they lose in the first round. That would be a definite blow, a definite, not having the success they should. So,
yeah, and I know on Wednesday they're having a recognition for winning the cup, fan appreciation type of thing down at the stadium. So you got tickets, you'll witness that. And if you don't, I don't know if they'll be broadcasting that anywhere besides Apple TV. I don't know if the city will pick it up and put it up on the Fountain Square big screen down there, so you can watch it and cheer
Is it like
on.
at the stadium?
Yeah, it's at the stadium. I think it's. I don't know if it's because they have a home game on Wednesday, and I think it's during that
Oh, it's within
time.
that home game.
Yeah, I think it's like before they said they were going to do something, either before
that
or
makes
during
sense. Yeah,
halftime, just to
yeah,
recognize that.
because I think 2 of their last 3 games are home games.
Mm-hmm.
This one, and then the following, maybe Wednesday or something too.
Okay. So congratulations again to FC Cincy. They built it the right way, and they're hopefully they can bring home the championship. So speaking of championships, the Bearcats took on BYU and Oklahoma since the last time we were together as a podcast. The Oklahoma game, we weren't. I wasn't expecting to beat Oklahoma. I think the defense showed up and only held them to 20 points. Offense, struggled again to score, and it was like, what was it, 15 straight possessions that the offense had without scoring a touchdown from the Miami game or to the BYU game. In the BYU game, I did not get a chance to watch that Friday night, but traveling to BYU, that's on a Friday night. It's always tough to play at that home stadium there, LaVell Edwards Stadium, and they came up short. It was 35-20. Was it 27? 35-27. Yeah. So, I don't know what you take from that. I thought BYU was going to be a little better than what the experts predicted them coming into the Big 12, just because I think BYU has played those caliber of teams and they've played them pretty well in the past seasons. So, I wasn't expecting, anything less than, a great performance by BYU to beat UC. And I think they might be the cream of the newcomers in the Big 12.
Well, I was disappointed because I watched the whole first half, and by that point, then I had to go to bed. But UC controlled the game. UC, if it was a boxing match, UC would have won. They controlled the game. First half, they dominated, and they came out. They still were losing at half because of a pick six, and because of they let BYU march down the field in like 5 plays at the end of the first half. And then they had a muff punt return in the second half that BYU recovered and had 15 yards to score. They got the 15-yard line. Mm-hmm. So you take a pick six and you have that's 2 touchdowns. UC out yarded and had a lot more yards than BYU. They rushed for like 250 yards or something. So it was to me, the Oklahoma game was disappointing because I was there live and you got to see it, it's happening. So, but if I step back and look at the 2 games, Oklahoma is better than BYU, and UC played better against BYU. Was controlled a lot of the game. They didn't really control the game against Oklahoma. They were in the game, but they didn't really control it. Whereas they controlled a lot of the game with BYU. They should have been up 10 at half, and so that was disappointing. They're as good a team as BYU for sure, if not better. The score, sure, you can say BYU scoreboard, yes, absolutely. But in terms of the game itself, the defense was just let up too many big plays, and then they had those 2 really bad mistakes that cost them 14 points. So, looking forward now, these next 2 games they need to win. These are the W's that we set up, and even more, like even before the season was like, okay, these are possible W's if we lay it out there. But Baylor and Iowa State suck. Mm-hmm. So like people expected Baylor to be pretty good, Now they might have won this past week. I thought I saw something that wasn't really like they came back at the end or something.
They came back and scored. I think it was 25 points on.
Yeah, because weren't they down big time or
to
something?
UCF? Yeah, and they came back and won the game. So
the Baylor has not played very well this year at all.
No, they have not.
And Iowa State's not good at all. Iowa State lost by like 30 to Oklahoma. So, so these are two. Not saying I would, not saying they are going to, but I would
winnable games.
Yes, very winnable games. Yep. And really, the rest of the season,
well, especially
are winnable games
since both of them are at Nippert.
Right.
You got to take care of.
I mean, is there a game on the schedule that you would say is not winnable?
Who do we have?
I mean, at home they got, the next two, and then they have UCF at home, and they have Kansas at home.
Right.
And on the road they have Houston, West Virginia, Oklahoma State.
Yeah, they're all winnable games if they.
Yeah. They're all losable also.
Yes, right. They are. But
I still think 6-6 is the floor.
Yep. I think after the way, the first 2 weeks started out,
right. Raise expectations.
Exactly. And now they're struggling to get back to 500. So, they have to do some things, play calling. And I know the fans are a little upset with Satterfield and the play calling and wanting them fired already. Come on. I mean, it's year one, game, 5 in the football season, not firing your coach. So just, chill it there, Sam. I mean, he was hoping by Monday, him and Zach Taylor both be gone, but that's not going to happen. Yeah. So, they've got a bye
Baylor
week.
won over 1. Yeah. Baylor won by 1.
Yeah. They got a bye week, and, they can get healthy, mend them up a little bit, and then move on to Iowa State coming to town, get a victory there, feel good about yourself, get a victory at Baylor, then you're on the road. And I think at Oklahoma State after that. I think that's where they go. That third week.
The 2 home games and then Oklahoma State.
And that's always, that'll be a tough environment to play in, but Oklahoma State's not very good. I mean, their quarterback situation is horrible. And, I just think that UC should be able to go in there and win the ball game. But, that's why you have to play the game, and we'll see. Speaking of playing the game, the Bengals, Monday night came out, white out, beat the Rams 19-16. Ring of Honor. It was a struggle. Offense not clicking. Burrow came out. He was healthy at least, as far as not tweaking the injury anymore. But how healthy was he? Don't know. Not saying. And then this week, they said he had a great week of practice. No setbacks. Come out running the ball the first 2 plays, I believe it was, and mixing, gain some yardage, and they didn't run the ball the rest of the game, it seemed like. When your quarterback is 75, 80%, can't drive off, making those throws, you've got to be able to run the ball, and you've got to be able to do some things to get the balls to your playmakers, and which I thought, they were trying to get it to Chase on the bubble screen and a couple of plays to Higgins, but then Tennessee, marched back down after, I don't know. I mean, the first drive was great. I was like, okay, this is great. We're marching. We're looking really good. Had to settle for a field goal, which was okay, fine. But then we turned around and gave up a 15 play drive to Tennessee for a field goal as well. And then we have, and then after that, it was back to 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out. And, not very good. So I just don't know what we can do.
I know.
And that's
offense is just pitiful.
Yeah.
It just, what can you do? I mean, if you can't throw the ball over 10 yards, you can't win the NFL. I mean, you can't unless you're running the wing tee or something. I mean, you said you sent that text earlier about
I did.
IR and Burrow. Like, at this point, I wouldn't mind seeing someone at least if he literally can't throw the ball more than 10 yards and complete a pass. Like, it's
well, I mean, he couldn't get out of the pocket, right? I mean, he didn't run, try to escape, and I just think, I mean, he might have been having flashbacks to the playoff game where he was sacked 9 times, and just like, oh my gosh. But he's injured. He's not driving the ball, and that comes off your back foot, and that's the calf injury.
I mean, it can't just be a minor little nuisance, right? I mean, still, you can't throw the ball. You can't throw it. So
and he can't
run. That's more than just a minor little nuisance, whatever. Minor little nuisance, you could throw it as much as you wanted to, and there'd be a little pain in there. I mean, this is enough pain that it's affecting his delivery.
Right.
That's more than a little, at this point. So.
Yep. And his escapability. And so I think you say, look, you got to go. You don't want this to turn into an Achilles, because that's what everybody says. Well, it could turn into an Achilles injury if you don't take care of it. Well, you invested $500 million in them. You need to protect them here. So put them on the IR. Trade Higgins. Well, now if Higgins got cracked ribs, trade Higgins. Take your draft pick that you would get because you're going to be in the top 10. And then the pick you get from Higgins, move up to 1, 2, or 3, draft Brock Bowers or Marvin Harrison Jr. I mean, if you trade T, then you draft Marvin as his replacement. If you keep T and you can move up, then you draft Brock Bowers.
I watched some of that Georgia game yesterday. Brock Bowers is ridiculously good.
Yes, he is. He's ridiculously good his freshman year too, right?
I mean,
Freshman, sophomore.
It's like Derrick Henry running the ball when he runs. Guys just literally just bouncing off of him.
Mm-hmm. And we don't. I mean, and granted, in Zach's
will he throw to a tight end though? Like, we don't. If he's not going to throw it to him, then it's don't.
But I think you will use. You have to. I don't know. I mean, I don't know, but we'll see. I think if Boyd is gone, Higgins is gone, you have to utilize that tight end, and that tight end. If we could get Brock Bowers, I think that's pretty good, real good. He can go middle of the field, and that's what we're. Irv Smith Jr. not playing again.
I mean, that's his history. He just didn't stay on the field. Yep. He's already missed 2 games, right? 2 out of 4.
2 out of 4, and it's. Yep.
I wonder how Hayden Hurst is doing in Carolina. I mean, they're not any good, but I wonder how he's doing.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, Bryce Young is out a couple of weeks, so Andy Dalton is probably utilizing him. I mean, I would. Dalton's the.
It's a tough call because he's 1-3. It's not like you can just write the season off at 1-3. Right. At least you don't feel like you shouldn't be writing the season off at 1-3. Much as I'm considered the pessimist, but still, I'm still what I hope. I mean, they're going to Arizona. They're not any good. I mean, the grand scheme of things, they're not any good. They've been playing better than they were expected to, but still, they're not any good. Tennessee's not any good either. I mean, Browns wiped the mat with them last week, and the Browns lost to the Ravens today, pretty bad.
Well, they played a rookie quarterback. The Browns did, but
not like Deshaun Watson's been setting the world on fire.
No, but
But the defense didn't play well. I mean, the Ravens scored, 28-3, I think the final was.
So. I think it was, 28-3. Yeah.
So if the defense was, so great, they should have made it. They should have only lost 10-3. Mm-hmm. So I'm just saying, Titans are overall not.
No, Titans are not.
Cardinals aren't very good.
No.
So it's a tough call because they're not. This is the stretch where we're like, oh God, I think I'm sure you had them undefeated.
Yeah, I did.
Before the bye, I'm sure you had them at 6-0 or whatever it was, and I'm guessing I had them at 5-1. I think the probably only loss I had was the Browns game. So at that point, or 4-1 or whatever they would be before.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
So it's tough to say. Like I can see why. Like benching Burrow would be such a big deal when he can go out there.
Mm-hmm.
But when he's, 50%? I mean, is he? You can't tell me he's more than 50% in terms of his play.
Right.
If you can't throw the ball over 10 yards and you can't run like at all, that's 50% to me, if not at best. So would Jake Browning or AJ McCarron at least be able to get the ball down the field a little bit? At least try. I mean, it's not even try. I'm sure the defenses are just keeping guys in front of him, and then he knows he's going to throw it 10 yards or less, and then they just come up and hit you. And 2 out of 4 games we've been shut out. You haven't scored a touchdown in the first half yet, right? This year,
correct.
4 games. I mean, that's bad.
And we've
that's bad.
That's bad, and we are the lowest scoring offense in the NFL.
Well, you have to
after four games.
We scored 2 games. We had 3 points, 0 points, or whatever it's been.
3.
Our biggest output's what, 19 last week?
Yeah.
Because the Ravens was what?
Was it 10? Or was it 17?
It might have been 17.
Let's see. The Ravens game was... No, we scored 24. So we lost 27-24.
Well, that was, So second half of the Ravens game was our best half.
Right.
In terms of offense.
Yeah, I think it's let's see, 6.
So that's a question to me. I mean, no one's going to say this or answer this. So he seemed to be better second half of the Ravens game. Mm-hmm. So you would think the trajectory should be okay. We should be getting a little bit better, but it's like it's gone the other way.
Well, but he tweaked it at the end of the Ravens game. He tweaked it again, and so he was like, and that was the whole Monday night debate. Is he going? Is he not going? Who's going?
Sure.
So that's, so he came out of Monday night. Okay. Had a great week of practice. He was a full participant in practice on Thursday. So he was ready to go. But
you can't be ready to go if you can't throw the ball over 10 yards.
Well,
you're an NFL quarterback.
Right. And I think, a lot of it's play calling. I don't know.
I'll say a little Nick Kroll effect too here. Like, get a better backup quarterback. Mm-hmm. Somebody you can trust a little bit. They don't trust Jake Browning.
Right.
Because you got a quarterback who can't throw it over 10 yards, you would put your backup in. Almost any other team would put their backup in.
Especially when you're getting hammered. And okay, I know Zach Taylor. We played like Zach Brown, man.
I might rather have Zach Brown right now.
I know. But Zach Taylor, came out in the presser afterwards, said, this is unacceptable.
Right.
Coaches, players.
His preseason getting the team ready is unacceptable too.
Right,
so.
Right. And I don't know. I just, he said that the reason Burrow was still in the game because they were only down 3 scores. It's like, yeah, okay, great, but the game was over. I mean,
after the first drive, did they ever get inside the 20 in the red zone again?
I don't think so.
Again, they may have. I didn't really watch much the second half.
One positive. Let me make sure I'm not because, like I said, at 3:15 I turned it on. I turned the Reds on. So sorry, Bengals, because you guys.
So you got a positive. I mean, you got a hurt wide receiver. You got a quarterback who can't throw it over 10 yards.
I might have a positive here.
The defense is trying to compensate for the offense, and they're screwing up, like making all kinds of dumb penalties and things.
Let me see here. I think this is not a positive, but I mean it is a positive. I mean Mixon, 14 carries. That's all he's averaging. They're only giving him 13 or 14 attempts. He has 4.8 yards per attempt.
He's been running hard.
He has been. Let's see. Positive today. The punter, Brad Robbins, 5 punts, 257 yards, 51.4 average. His long was 62 yards. None inside the 20, though. 1 touchback. So that's a positive right there from how bad he was the first 4 games. Our first 3 games, he started booming the ball and with some hang time. So, yeah, I mean, Arizona, like you said, we should win. We'll see. I mean, we'll see. I mean, Arizona, who'd they surprise was it 2 weeks ago? Last week they snuck up on somebody, and I don't know if they beat them or if Josh Dobbs had a career game or something. I can't remember, but it was just one of those things that.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm, am I worried that they could go in there and lose? Yes, I am.
Oh yeah,
to the way we're playing. Yes,
absolutely.
Yes.
They could.
Yeah, because the
hell,
Cardinals
they may not even be favored. They might be the underdog.
Yeah, because I'm going to say, the Cardinals are thinking, hey, we could beat this team. This team sucks. Just that kind of thing. So we just need to.
I mean, everything I'm seeing here, T. Higgins does have fractured ribs.
Yeah. Yeah, so
can't imagine you're back a week later after fractured ribs.
No, he'll be out. He'll be out until after the bye, probably. So then you got Yoshi, or because Charlie.
Yeah, your boy Charlie was out. Whatever's going on with him.
Some
hand injury or something.
Oh, the producer just texted and said Arizona crushed the Cowboys last week.
Well, that was last week.
That was last week.
They got crushed by the 49ers this week.
Yes. Well, the 49ers are. Yes, but moving forward, right, we got the Bengals, Arizona. Hopefully we can beat them. Then Seattle comes. Yeah, Seattle
Not
comes.
If Burrow can't throw it over 10 yards.
Well, here's the thing, right? If Burrow's performance is like this again, he should sit. He should sit the Seattle game. Then you got 2 weeks to try to get this thing better, which I don't think it's going to be because he had 5 weeks and it wasn't any better at the start of the regular season. Jamar Chase, in his post-game comments, everything he said in the post-game, all 4 games, he's been pretty accurate, right? If I was running the team, he needs to sit out the first 2 weeks, get healthy. Blah, 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 blah. And then I need to catch the ball more, or I need to touch the ball more. Oh, look what happens. They get him the ball 18 times or 17 times, target him, catches 14, wins the ball game. Today, throw me the ball. I'm open. It's frustrating. And I think, there's some frustration boiling in that locker room, and
that's called when you're dealing with expectations. That's the thing.
Yep, that's what happens, right? And when you're not living up to those expectations, and injuries suck, but that's why you have backups to come in and hopefully steer the ship while your starters recover. And I know quarterback is the most prized possession, and it's hard to find a QB1, let alone a great QB1, and it's hard to find a backup that can play at a level that you might need for Super Bowl aspirations, especially when you are 1-3, and there's still hope, but it looks like I'm going to have to adjust my win totals. So,
didn't you have them 14-3?
14-3, yeah. So we got to go.
We got to win 13 straight.
13 straight. Hey, we won 10 straight last year.
Yeah, they're playing just as well right now.
Yep. All right. Let's move on real quick to the Reds. Enough Bengal talk. Let's move on to the Reds, and the season ended today. Bittersweet, I guess. Looking at Arizona losing again. If the Reds could have just swept the Cardinals, they would have had the same record as Arizona and would have got in. So, because they had the tiebreaker on both
Stupid
of them.
Cardinals.
Yep, stupid Cardinals. I mean, the Reds pounded them 19-2, and then turn around. I knew
that's history. That's Reds history.
Yeah, right.
I thought they'd get no hit. So when I pulled up, it was 11-0. I'm like, oh, this is absolutely what was going to happen. So
yeah, we were coming back from the Purdue game yesterday, and I just happened to pull up the Reds app and look. I went, oh, it was 5-0 in the second inning or something like that, and I was like. And then I looked, and Connor Phillips was already out. I was like, oh.
He didn't throw a strike.
Yeah, I know. 3 batters, 12 pitches, all balls.
Yep.
That is Little League right there. Little League. I've seen that in Little League. So
I think I did that in Little League.
But
so
of course, and that's he should be still in AAA. I mean, as great as he pitched against the Pirates, they still lost that game, right? I mean, 10 strikeouts, 9 strikeouts, had a no-hitter going through 4. I mean, just pitched well. And that's the Connor Phillips that you hope you see next year.
It was good. He got a taste of the majors this year, and he should be in the running for the staff, but I'm hoping they get a veteran or so that'll take one of those spots. And Connor Phillips starting in AAA next year would not be a bad thing.
No, not at all.
And then he's the next one up. He showed he belongs. Like, he has the talent to be there.
Right.
So
what are some highlights of the season? I mean, looking back, I know we'll probably go more into this next week.
I was going to say, I think we need to do our looking back at our preseason awards and picking
we'll do that all
picking
next
who we
week.
think should actually win it.
Yeah.
And we can't say Brandon Drury this year. So
no, we can't. So
like what would you ask? I mean, next question would be, what do you think was like the
highlights
top
of the
two,
season?
top two or three, coolest moments or your favorite moments of the season?
Yeah, and then some low lights too, right?
Yeah, so I'll pick one, then you go back and we can go back and forth. What's your my the one that stands out to me, and I was at somebody's house and it was like I couldn't walk away from it, was the Ellie cycle game.
Oh yeah.
The Braves, being that it was against the Braves, that game was just crazy. This kept going back, and even with him getting a cycle, the Braves kept taking the lead, and then the Reds came back. Votto hit 2 home runs that game.
2 bombs, yeah. Was that Votto's first game, or no?
It was one of the early games, but
that's right.
But that game was just fun, like one of the most fun baseball games I've ever seen on TV, kind of thing. So that would be my number. That would be my number one, at least first one I thought of.
First one, I mean, I'll piggyback off of that. I mean, that probably would be the highlight. But I think his debut, I mean, we were at that game for his debut, and just the electricity in the stadium, putting our faith on a 21-year-old, rookie, the hope of the team. And he delivered. I mean, it was electric, but then, Matt McClain, another rookie, delivered the game-winning hit, and that was back and forth. The Dodgers went out, shelled, boom, boom, Weaver. But the Reds came back and won the game, so he didn't get a loss. Jordans. Yes. And so that would be one of the highlights, I think, just because I was at that state, at the game and just the electricity of Ellie arrival.
Yeah. Yeah, and then maybe because I was watching it, I was actually had it on and everything. Watching it was the again, it goes back to Ellie. The Ellie stealing the home thing, stealing 3 bases and 2 pitches or whatever it was crazy, and it's like one of those things where you're just like, what did you, just one of those what the heck just happened moments. That was cool. And then I think starting that next game, he went in the tank for most of the rest of the season, but whatever was the reason. I don't think that was the reason, but
no,
that moment again.
Pitching, that was the reason right there. Yes,
but
yes.
But that was another one that was really stands out to me. I'll remember.
Yeah. I like. I'll give a nod to a pitcher, right? Ricky, the wild
Oh
thing,
yeah, the
Karcher,
wild
baby.
thing.
June
That's right.
12th, right? Against Kansas City. Oh, mercy. Balls flying all over the place. He can't throw a strike and hitting batters, and Kurt Caselli trying to do everything he can to
Like
block
that
everything
was
back
Little
there.
League.
Yeah, that was.
Him jumping up, trying to,
But yet,
sticking his gloves straight up to catch it like 3 or 4 times.
yeah.
And
But he comes out of that with a 0.000 major league earn run average. So, and then the post game interview. I mean, that was, if you haven't seen it, YouTube it. It was. He even.
Yeah.
Oh, it was great. So
wild thing, Karcher. Yeah,
yep.
definitely. Will Benson's walk off against the Dodgers when he went crazy when he hit it and like threw his bat down, like just was screaming and threw his bat down as he ran around. That was because that was the game after we had seen the LE debut and the Matt McLean walk off.
Right.
Was the Benson walk off. And, we'll talk about this next week. I think that's definitely what we want to get in,
right. Exactly.
Share our thoughts on team winners and award winners and things, and all the rookies and stuff. But Will Benson coming in from out of nowhere was a highlight.
That was a good one. And then I'll tip my hat to Hunter Green here. 2 performances ago, 14 strikeouts. That's the Hunter that we hope we see more than the Hunter today. That we had leads and he couldn't hold the lead. And not just like he couldn't hold the lead after 2 or 3 innings. It was like the very next half inning, the bottom of the inning, he gave up the lead. So I just hope we can see more of those 14, not even 14 strikeouts a game, but 10 strikeouts, dominant performance, just owning the game. All right. Like I said, we'll get more into the Reds and really dive into it. But another thought, since the season's over, if we're sitting there on Pete Rose Way or Nuxall Way, whatever it is, 100 Nuxall Way, I think it is, where their offices are, your GM, Nick Kroll, what are you doing to improve this team? I mean, free agency, trade-wise.
My number one thing is a veteran starting pitcher. It's what they needed this year. So as much as I'm sure if you go back to the archives, I was railing during the trade deadline. It wasn't the trade deadline. I mean, that was bad, but it was worse at the beginning of the year. That 5-man rotation that Kroll made Bell send out there at the beginning of the year was a catastrophe. That was criminal almost for a major league team. The A's
3 of them
A's 4 and 5 men were probably better than what they made them run out there. Mm-hmm. So veteran pitcher, starting pitcher, not Luke Weaver, not Mike Minor, none of these, just a legitimate veteran pitcher that they'll pay $10-12 million to. I know I've said several times this year Wade Miley would have been perfect. That in that vein, that's definitely worth that amount of money. I mean, even if better than him, bring Sonny Gray back. I think he's a free agent. So
he is, and that's who I would target, the reunion of Sonny Gray. But a lot of teams are going to be targeting Sonny Gray just because the free agent market is
inflated.
Free agent market's not real deep this year.
Then trade. You got the
pieces. Yeah,
you got the pieces to make any trade you want.
Right.
There's probably not many. Definitely 2 hands, or maybe even 1 hand. The number of pieces the Reds have that they're players that are untouchable. I don't think no matter what we did, we get Ronald Acuna. Okay, but those level players is it. But with the players that we got, there's almost everybody is touchable. It's what we're willing to give up, and I'm not looking to give up a bunch of these high level guys, but if they're going to improve the team for the next couple of years and make them more World Series winnable, then I mean, you got to do what you got to do.
Mm-hmm.
We traded some high-level prospects to get, what's his name, from the Padres back in 2010, 2011. Pitcher.
Matt Latos.
Yeah, Latos. And, yeah, they gave up guys that were all-stars, down the course of career. But I wouldn't take that trade back. I mean, it was unfortunate they didn't win this, win more, but that 2012 team should have won. I mean, that 2012 team was as good as there was in the major leagues.
Yeah.
So I would totally do that trade again. So, so that number one for me is that the veteran starting a legitimate, doesn't have to be a 1, but a 2 or a 3, not a 5, hoping to be a 5.
Right.
In your rotation, starting pitcher.
Yeah, that's what I think. I think the starting pitching, and then, you get that, then you got to get another reliable bullpen arm, right? I mean, that's those two
if
things.
Not a couple.
Yes.
Because they ain't going to get another year out of the. I mean, if you go back to the beginning of the year, I mean, this was retreads. I mean, everyone's a retread. Other than Diaz, a retread, minor league waiver pickup kind of guy. I mean, they pitched. No. They were by far the biggest over expectation of anything.
Yes,
this season was the bullpen, especially.
Yeah, you're right.
But
that could be your MVP right there, the bullpen, right? That group. So,
but I mean, you're. I mean, it's gonna. If you're relying on that again, you're not a World Series winner. You're because next year could be like 2 years ago,
right?
When they had the worst bullpen with those same kind of guys, the Buck Farmers and the Ian Jabos that they scrap heap they got him off of and stuff.
So yeah, I mean, if you look at the teams that made the playoffs, their bullpens are pretty good. So, you've got to be able to shut down the opposing team's best players, and that our bullpen did that this year. But I don't know in high leverage situations. I mean. We got to just be. It's just one of those things, right? We just got to be clicking on all cylinders. Our starting pitchers need to be going 6 innings, and then our bullpen can clean up the mess. But it seems like we get great starting pitching, and then Bell pulls them, and then our bullpen implodes. Or we get horrible bullpen or horrible starting pitching, and our bullpen saves us. So it's we've got to be able to. I mean, you're going to have days like that, obviously, but we've just got to be more consistent that way, getting good starting pitching and good bullpen at the same time. So, Joey Votto out of here, ejected. After the half inning, went back and looked at it, and it was a ball, and he yelled from the dugout, got ejected. Issued an apology on social media saying that he was sorry for those that came to see him play. He said the umpire was correct. I should have never. He was correct for throwing me out. I should never be chirping at the umpires from my dugout. So he owned it, but it was a ball. And I think he made his point clear. And so that could be the great debate. Do you throw out a guy who might be playing his last game? Or do you just say, come out here for a second? Hey, okay. I'm letting you slide this time, but don't do it again. But
that's sure. And just to Joe, the big questions of the off season, there's number one. What do you do with Votto? I think your second big one is what do you do with Jonathan India?
Yes. Yeah. And we'll get into that next week. I don't want to do that, but I do want to give a shout out to Marte.
Into what? 16 games?
16 game hitting streak, 21 game on base streak. He set the franchise record yesterday when he got 15. Do you know who's he beat? Quick trivia for you.
Yeah, I saw it, but it was somebody wasn't very good overall.
Yeah, Jeff Treadwell.
Right. Yeah.
Yes. So
just an average. Yeah. I knew it.
Yeah.
I remember seeing this makes sense. All those kind of records are always held by guys who are average to nobody's outside of that record. So.
Yep. So, all right. next week we'll talk a lot more about the Reds and review our predictions for the season. It's sad that we have to wait 6 more months for meaningful Reds baseball, but looking forward to the Hot Stove League here after the World Series. Can't wait to talk about what we would do if we are the Reds. So stay tuned next week. You'll be able to hear that. So we'll move into Sam was supposed to give the trivia question. I don't know if you're watching, Sam.
No, I think I am.
Well, no, he was supposed to give the answer for last week.
Oh, yeah. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. So if you're out there watching or listening, text me the answer in the question. I don't remember it off the top of my head. Down. So we'll just move on to Crawley, see if I can get his. And if you want to play along, you can shoot us a DM on Instagram at Cincy Sports Scene or at Twitter, Cincy Sports Scene. Or if you are watching us live on YouTube at 7 p.m. on Sunday nights, you can type it in the chat. Go ahead with your question.
Okay. This might be a little long. Of course, some of the ones you've given have been pretty long too. So I wrote down here in honor, with it being now we're in the heart of college football season. I have the list, and this is going to be part with you and Sam being able to kind of go back and forth, but we can just do it. You can just do it with you. I have the list of the top 9 winningest college football programs of all time. What's your question?
Okay.
I have them in order.
Top 9 of all time?
Top 9, yep.
Oklahoma.
They're one of the top 9, yeah.
Yeah. Notre Dame, Michigan.
Yep.
Ohio State.
Yep.
USC.
Nope.
No. Not UCLA. Would it be Alabama?
Yep.
How many do I got? 4, 5?
You've got 5 so far.
Okay. I said Ohio State.
Yep.
Okay. What about like Army or Navy?
Nope.
No. Okay. I know they want a lot.
But I will say there's one team on the list who is kind of out of the ordinary.
Out of the ordinary.
Like an Army and Navy, but
Harvard.
Not Harvard.
Yale.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're actually the 7th.
7th. Yeah. There be somebody like who was real dominant back in the early days? Nebraska.
Yep.
Yep.
There's 2 you haven't said, and both of them are well-known programs.
Yeah, it's not Florida State, not Auburn. Texas.
Yep.
Yeah. Not Miami.
More traditional power.
Probably should.
Okay.
Well, yeah.
We'll leave it there and see what.
We'll leave it there. Yeah.
If someone comes to the other one.
Yep.
And if you can put them in order too.
Put them in order. There we go. All right. So if you know it, you can hop on the chat. Speaking of the chat, we did have a says Far Sender, Titans fans here. Why did the Bengals keep Burrow in? He was being hit over and over again. And I said, that's a great question. Zach said that they were only down 3 scores, and that's why he was still in the 4th quarter. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me.
Well, again, it just goes back to how little confidence they have in Jake Browning as the backup.
There you go. That's probably the main reason why. So, all right, if you Think you know the answer to that? Go ahead and chime in. Either send us a tweet out there at Cincy Sports Scene or hop on the DMs on Instagram at Cincy Sports Scene, and you can put your answers in, and we'll give you a shout out and send you a Cincinnati Sports Scene sticker if you get it right. So moving forward, you had your topic of the week. You want to go ahead and talk about what we're going to be doing here in the next 3 to 5 minutes?
Yeah. Did you? Well, some of it's been based on if you probably should did this pre-game here.
I have.
Did you
some
see
of the funny,
thing? The funny. Did you come up with some?
I did. Yeah.
Because if you did, and I got another thing too, but I thought that would.
Yeah, I got a couple that.
Yeah, let's throw a couple of those out. So
okay.
I was thinking, what are the top, the funniest moments in Cincinnati sports history? There's a lot of them.
Yeah.
So not bad moments, not necessarily like, some of them I have on my list are pretty bad moments, but this is more just, you look back like, oh my, you just can't but laugh. Yeah. So shake your head and laugh. So give me one. We'll go kind of back and forth.
All right.
Here,
so my first one, I'm gonna probably take yours, but I'm
sure it's on the list.
It probably has to be when Tom Browning climbs up Wrigley in the apartments and sits on the rooftop. I think that was probably one of the funniest moments in Reds history.
Yeah. Coach is not real happy with that.
No, he wasn't, but that's okay. That's what makes it funny.
Right. Yeah, I had that one on there. But my first one, actually, I thought it was Piniella throwing the base.
That was
Sweet Lou throwing the base, and
I thought of that too.
Yeah, anytime I see that, I just stop. I cannot laugh. Whatever. That's just him just tossing that base and going, and then running after it and tossing it again.
Yeah.
So that was my number one. Another
one. I mean, of the Reds, it's just Nuxall, right? In his calls. There's a shot to center, right, left, that kind of thing. Or if Marty, it's like he's in the background, get up, the ultimate fan.
Right.
So his calls that, some of them are funny, but it's more nostalgia.
You specifically talk about Nuxall and the Macho Man.
Well, yeah. Oh, yeah, I did. That was great. I sent you guys that tweet. Yeah, when they interviewed Randy Savage. Macho. Oh, yeah.
Or formerly known as Randy Poffo of the Cincinnati minor league.
The catcher.
I have Paul O'Neill kicking the ball in the infield. So I had that one on there the fact that it actually worked too. It wasn't that he just kicked it. It actually went exactly to where it needed to go and it stopped the runners and everything. So I had that on there.
I had, you don't live in Cleveland.
Sam Weish.
Yes. So.
I had Norm Charlton slamming into Mike Scioscia, running the bases, and like he was a freaking NFL linebacker.
Ran through the stop sign, baby.
Yeah, ran through the stop sign with that warm up jacket that had probably starter or whatever Brandon was in. And all the pitchers always put those ugly ass warm up jackets on, and he had that red one that was flying around and just slams into Scioscia. Yeah,
this is pregame, right? Shotzi running out to center field, taking a dump, and then the guy has to go out.
The pooper
scooper guy has to clean it up.
That goes on the embarrassing list too.
Yes, it does. But
Shotzi. Oh man. I had another one. I had a lot of Reds ones. I had Puig fighting the whole Pirates.
And Amir Garrett could be.
Yeah, Amir Garrett. Yeah.
So what about Johnny Cueto kicking?
Oh yeah, kicking Ryan. Was it Ryan Hannigan or was it no? Or was it?
No, it was
that was a former Red though. It was one of the Ryan catchers.
Was it?
Yeah.
I thought it was Molina that he was kicking up against the fence.
He was fighting. I mean, Molina was in there fighting, but
but I thought that was him. He was like stomping on him.
Yeah, he kicked because the guy never. I don't think he ever was the same. I don't think he ever played. He played, but Never had. Yeah, it was one of the former Reds catchers, like Ryan Hannigan or one of those other Ryans.
Oh, well, I think that was the only Reds catcher, Ryan Hannigan. Because you're not thinking of Ryan Ludwig because he came, because he came later. So that was a good one. What else?
I had I just from a team standpoint, I had the Bengals of the '90s, and I had Akili, Klingler, and Big Daddy.
Draft bus, yeah, that's
pretty.
Yes.
That was about as bad as you can get. So for that extended period of time. So
it was. So yeah, let's see. Any other things?
Do you have anything else on there?
No, I mean, funny. I'm just trying to think of something that. I mean, obviously there's probably a ton of things.
I just verified. It was Jason LaRue.
Jason LaRue, not you are
not
right.
Ryan Hannigan,
not Ryan Hannigan.
But same basic player.
Yep, exactly. So
Jason LaRue.
Oh, yeah. So, and what about Pete Rose saying, "Well, they're the Cubs, they'll suck," something. But
I figured you would have said Rob Dibble when he threw it.
But that wasn't. I mean, I don't think that was funny. I think that was just.
It's
that
funny.
was awesome.
It's funny to look back at it when you look at the video.
Yeah, because I was at that game. That is right. I totally yes, and that was then all the bottles and everything started coming out on the field. Then Andre Dawson gets ejected. He got ejected. Everything comes out. Yeah. That whole night is a blur.
Who'd he hit? Who'd he throw it at?
Doug DeCenso. Bunted it and he picked it up and he said, "You know what? I'm going to take 3 extra steps to get in the line," and fired it. Down goes DeCenso, right? Down goes DeCenso. But and then they had to pull everybody off. Yeah, that was something. That was and then I was just trying to think of, anything, in my youth that was funny. But I mean, the Reds were so serious, in the 70s. Now the 81 team was horrible, Tracy Jones, Paul Householder, those kind of guys. But, Bengals teams, yeah. We don't have anything as bad as the butt fumble or anything like that, but
right.
It's funny as that. But, we have the fumble, those things. So,
So if anybody has one that we're not thinking about, send it to us.
Yes, send it to us. Yeah. So yeah, but that is correct. So if anybody has anything, you can hop in the chat. If you are, send it in to us. If not, we'll be checking the Instagram feeds and stuff like that. So, but all right. You got anything else for the good of the order there?
That's it.
All right. It was a short one tonight. Like I said, next week, they're moving back to the Natty here area. Hopefully he'll call in when he's on the road.
Well, maybe if he's not, maybe you get let's look at our Reds, what our Reds category, our award winner is going to be, and he can at least get them to you, and you can
something like that.
Share them.
We can share them with us.
Through them. Yeah.
All right, we can do that. So next week we'll be all if the Bengals,
we got Bengals Cardinals.
If the Bengals lose,
what time is that? What game?
It's a 4:15 game.
Yeah, 4:15.
Yeah. So if they lose, we'll have no talk about the Bengals. We'll do all.
I thought we had more talk about the Bengals if they lose.
We might be talking them, and they might be going back.
UC's on a bye. The FC Cincy's clinched it already. They do have a Wednesday. They play Saturday.
I think they do. But
So.
yeah, but we're going to have to start getting to, basketball preview stuff here in a little bit because they just started practice last week. So that's coming right up. It's October already. It's like, holy cow, where did the year gone so far?
Right.
But, so with that, until next week, we'll come back, talk Reds. Predictions, our preseason predictions, how wrong we were. Our who do we think might get the postseason awards, and then we'll talk about people that we want to target, specific people that we want to target to improve the team. So until next week, for Sam, who's out in Colorado, for Charlie, I'm Dave. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening and watching. Until next week, take care, everybody.
Yep. See you later.